Since everybody's traveling this weekend, I thought it would make sense to talk about a big financial hack for road trippers. That is, if you're traveling more than a couple hundred miles, it often makes a lot of sense to get a rental car for your road trip because they often have unlimited miles versus driving your own car. So let me explain. Let's get my screen up here. There is a report that AAA releases each year that's called Your Driving Costs. And what I really like about it is they look at new cars for that year and they figure out and they categorize it the various gas costs, wear and tear costs, to a degree depreciation costs, and basically the cost per mile to drive specific types of cars. So this is a blog post that I'm on. I took some information from that report, and you can see here that this is wear and tear costs, this line right here. Electric vehicles, the cost for wear and tear is very little for those compared to other cars such as SUVs. They are the most costly to maintain. So 9.6 cents per mile versus electric cars 6.6 cents. And then sedans and minivans, pickup trucks, hybrids, they fall in the middle. But the next thing to consider is depreciation. And depreciation is simply the natural loss of value a car loses over time due to one, obsolescence, and two, just because it's being used. Simple as that. And what you actually see is that depreciation cost per mile, that's right here, is significantly higher than the cost for wear and tear. And small sedans have actually one of the lowest depreciation costs per mile, whereas electric vehicles and, again, SUVs, especially big ones, they have the highest depreciation cost. Now, something that I think is going on here is that small sedans have such a low depreciation cost because they're cheaper. So if you start out with less value to lose, then you're going to lose less value. All right, so let's actually talk about the hack here. So I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint, and it's actually very simple. You can use this AAA Your Driving Costs report, and you just compare the cost to drive your own car on your road trip versus the cost for a rental car. So first you need to calculate your own cost if you were driving your car on your road trip, which is pretty simple. You take the depreciation rate, cost per mile, and the wear and tear cost per mile, which you can get off of that report, and that gives you your total cost per mile, okay? And then you just take whatever that number is and you multiply it by how long your trip is, and that's going to give you the total cost of your trip. So hypothetically here, let's just say I'm gonna split that screen, and we are going to we'll pull up the blog post because it's easier to read. Let's say I have a small sedan, 8.53 cents per mile for wear and tear. So calculator, 8.53 cents. And then depreciation cost is 14.93 cents per mile. All right, so my total cost per mile, and we're not talking about gas here because you have to pay gas regardless if you're in a rental or your car. Total cost is 23.46 cents per mile. Let's say I'm driving 1,000 miles. So we're going to do 1,000 miles, and it's going to cost me 23,000 cents. Which you figure what I do here, divide by 100. $234.60 for that road trip in my small sedan. All right, so that's the cost to drive my own car. What do we do next? Well, we see what the cost is for a rental car. And what's the cost for that? It's easy. That's just the cost that you pay to get a rental car. So let's say my cost to drive my own car is $234.60, and I find a rental car deal for $150. All right, looks like we should get the rental car. Absolutely. What if we can only find rental cars for $400? Well, driving my own car would have been $234. So let's drive our own car. So it's pretty simple math, easy. You just got to get the numbers off of the report. Now, some variables which could really influence this. If you have an older car, the wear and tear is probably going to be lower, but especially the depreciation rate is going to be significantly lower. So let's take a car like my 10-year-old Hyundai. Its trade-in value is probably like $2,000. They probably want me to pay to trade it in, but yeah, its trade-in value is about $2,000. So it doesn't have that much value to lose at this point. So my depreciation rate's probably kind of close to zero. So I just need to pay the wear and tear cost. And for that reason, it's going to probably never make sense for me to get a rental car for a road trip as long as I'm driving that old beater of a car. Now, if I had a new car, it'd be a completely different story, and I'd probably be getting a rental every time I had a road trip. So that's the hack. Calculate your own driving costs. Look at AAA's report. It's called Your Driving Costs. Compare that to the cost of getting a rental car and pick whatever one's cheaper.